Welcome back to the Hockey Show. Now today, I'm talking about the Philadelphia Flyers, one of the few teams I can actually get put on a shirt for. So I'm going to wear the shirt. And I also look good in orange, don't I? Thank you. Anyways, moving on to the Flyers and their worst contract on the team. Now, this is a team that they just seem to wind themselves up for it seems like they've tasked themselves to just hand out contracts to way underdeserving people and that don't make any sense. Let's start out with the guy where I feel like this is kind of the time where I started to really get deeply invested into hockey. Like, I was a fan of hockey, but I feel like whenever this contract was signed, I think is finally when I was, like, into hockey. Like, started joining, like, a fantasy league and started really paying attention to things. And that is Kevin Hayes' contract when he signed for, I think, 7 years, was it, or something like that, for... Now, stick with me here. $7,142,857. Now, I'm sure there's a meaning behind that number, but why the hell is that the number? I mean, I said this in a few videos ago. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I get Crosby's contract because isn't his like 87, 87, 87, 87 or something? I can understand that. But what is 142,857? Is that like his password to his safe or something? It's just a weird number, but 7,000,000.15. Well, let's just say 7 million, because whatever. So for till 2026, so there's still 5 years left. There's still 5 years left on this deal. Now, the thing about it that makes no sense to me is that this last season he had 31 points and he's 30 years old, right? So already not aging well. But the thing is that it never aged well to begin with. It was never warranted for this contract to be signed. The year that he signed it, he had 55 points, and that was a year when he switched between playing with the Winnipeg Jets and the Rangers. The Rangers and the Winnipeg Jets, his best season. He switched, he got traded teams, he had 55 points for the season. Every other year, this guy is a 40 points player until these last few years when now he's into the 30s now, right? He has never, ever been a $7 million guy, ever. I remember last season or the year, not last season is the one that just happened, like the one before that, I think in like 2020 to 2021 or something. I remember he like got off to a good start. He was like in like the first 10, 20 games, he was doing pretty good, but then he kind of fell off towards the end because there's a lot of hype around him. But I mean, this deal was never, ever warranted, and it astonishes me why anyone would sign him to that number, because it's not like he was like a young gun growing or something, right? He had one good season, not even that good of a season. 55 points is like a good year for like that one third-liner guy that could make a jump to that second line, you know? Like 55 points is like what a bare minimum second line guy should be getting, and here is Kevin Hayes getting rewarded to get 55 points split between two teams for $7 million. It makes no sense to me. It's a contract that has never made sense to me. I saw it, and it was like I said, it was the time when I was getting into hockey. I was like, that is the worst contract I've, in my lifetime watching and paying attention, that I've ever seen signed when it happened at the time. I was like, this is the stupidest deal ever, and it is not aging very well. 31 points for the season. I think last year he had 36 or something like that. And he's 30 years old, so he still has 5 years left of it. Yeah, 23, 24, 25, 26. No, 4 years. Whatever. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. What the hell am I thinking? He has 4 years left on the deal. He'll be 34. I mean, this guy, it's just not going to age well. There's no way that this guy, sure, I could see Hayes having like a good year and getting to like the 40s or 50s again. But I mean, this is not going to be $7 million should be going to guys getting to like the 60s to 70s in points. But Kevin Hayes is far from that, halfway of that. So Kevin Hayes, bad deal. But now we move on to a guy who signed around the same time, which was in 2019. Doesn't really matter. 38 points last year, 33-year-old James Van Riemsdyk, JVR, from the Flyers to the Maple Leafs and back to the Flyers. Now, his last few seasons, so last year 38 points, 43, 40, 48, then back to 54 in his last year with the Maple Leafs, and 62 was his best career season, was 62 points. So his best season was 6 years ago. His best year was 6 seasons ago. That is a long time, especially for a guy who's 33 now. he used 62 points was his best season, right? And that was a long time ago. Ever since then, he's gone down and down and down in points and only went up by 3 points from 1 year before. And he was rewarded 3 or 4 years ago, 4 years ago, after his 54-point stint, for a $7 million contract for 2023. Actually, no, he signed the year he got 48 points. He signed in the year for 40. It's a deal that makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, the one thing about JVR, though, is for me, I feel like it's not really his fault. He's a goal scorer, right? JVR is a goal scorer, and that's his thing, and he's good at it. He consistently gets in the 20 goals every single season, but he's not an assists guy, right? Which is fine. Say Patrick Laine this season, right? Let's just predict. If he gets 45 goals playing with Johnny Hockey, but he only gets 10 assists for 55 points, would people be mad? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be mad at all if Patrick Laine just got goals and no assists. So I think it's not JVR's fault. And also, for a guy being a goal scorer, he doesn't really have guys to pass the puck to, especially with Giroux gone and Couturier being hurt a lot. And, he just doesn't have those goal scorers around him to help him get those numbers up. And he doesn't have anyone to help him get his goals numbers up. So 20s and goals is fine. Just his assists are lacking because he doesn't really need the assists. He's just a goal scorer, and he's good at it. He consistently gets in the 20s. I think it's about the 20s every year, and he's good at what he does. And it's only 1 year left for $7 million. But once again, this is another contract that is so bizarre to me because it doesn't make any sense. He's 33 years old. And he gets signed in, I think he was, probably 29 or something. He's, at the end of his prime years, and he's already declining. So it's just strange to me. It's a contract that, once again, never should have been signed, and it makes no sense to me. But 1 year left, it's not the worst. But one of the guys that has been ashamed, he has been shamed for how bad he is Rasmus Ristolainen. This guy, the Finnish guy, was supposed to be a big defenseman that could have made it one day, and he was on the Buffalo Sabres. And I remember he had the record, or maybe not the record, but he had the worst negative number ever. He was negative 41, I think, was his worst year in positive negatives, right? Plus minus. And he has never once been a plus player. Never once. And this season was his career worst in points with 16. And he's finally off the Buffalo Sabres. He's finally on a hockey team like the Flyers, which, sure, the Flyers aren't very good, but they have better talent, I would say, overall than the Buffalo Sabres. And this is his worst career season, at least in points. He was a -9, so not the worst ever in that number category. But still, he's never been a plus player, ever. Not once in his career. And the weirdest thing about this deal is that he is clearly shown every season he's falling down in points. I only think once in a while he's up a point or two above his last season. But he was in the 40s, and now he is just falling. And this is his worst year yet with 16 points. But he literally last season got his extension. For more years with this team for till 2027. So that's 5 years for $5.1 million. His last contract was 5.4, and he didn't deserve that, and now he signs for $5.1 million. It makes no sense to me. Who in their right mind thinks this guy deserves this much money? He is literally sure, maybe I don't know anything. But he has shown that he's clearly declining in points. Clearly. Just falling off a cliff in the points category. He's never been good defensively. I know he's on the Sabres, so terrible circumstances to keep a good plus-minus. But, negative 41. This guy is falling to the ground. This guy is hurtling to the earth like a meteor. It makes absolutely no sense why anybody gave this contract to him, and he just signed it too. This isn't like JVR, where it's sure, 54 points isn't the worst thing in the world to give $7 million to, especially if you're bringing him into a team with guys like Giroux and guys like Couturier, guys like Konechny, and you got Provorov now back there, and Gostisbehere looks like a good young talent. Sure, you bring in your old guy that used to be on the team, and he's done good in the past, and he's not sure, bring him in, maybe he can get you some more goals. Sure, why not? But Rasmus Ristolainen has never shown he's worth $5.1 million, and he's clearly shown that he's falling off a cliff even though he's moved teams. This guy, clearly, for me, I know I said in my Sharks video, like, I guess the numbers say that Marc-Edouard Vlasic's contract is technically the worst by numbers and stuff, but at least for me, like, Vlasic is, like, a likable person, and he has, like, a fun nickname, like Pickles, and, like, and he used to be really good, so, like, maybe this is just, like, the Sharks' curse. To be like, well, this is what you get for having so many years of good talent. He was known to be one of the lowest paid guys in the league for how good he was, and now this is just this is your comeuppance for being so good for so long and not paying the guy. Like, sure, it's just like this is your karma, I guess. Why not? But Rasmus Ristolainen, nobody cares about the guy, and he used to be made. He's a joke. The guy's an absolute joke, and here he is getting signed for 5 more years. The Flyers are a dumpster fire. I can only say that. The Flyers are absolute dumpster fire, and they are probably the worst franchise in the league. But they bring in a guy like Tony DeAngelo, who can actually spark something, but that's a whole other story. Ristolainen is absolutely terrible, and to me, this is the worst deal in the entire league, because it's the stupidest deal I've ever seen signed. So that's all I have to say about the Philadelphia Flyers and their contract situation. So please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below to the comment section and tell me how stupid I am for actually, no. No one's going to disagree with me. Rasmus Ristolainen is the worst player in the NHL and is the most overpaid guy in the league. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. Ristolainen's the worst. Tell me how bad it is down below, and if you somehow disagree with me, tell me how stupid I am, I guess. But other than that, thank you for watching this. If you like this, until next time, I've been your dapperly dressed host, Owen. I hope you're having an amazing day, all you beautiful people out there. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.